In life, we create conscious and subconscious patterns of behavior. Let's not talk about the conscious behaviors we create, but underline something that maybe you didn't see before as well. One of the things that I've struggled with growing up was feeling like I could do anything. That was a subconscious behavior that was taught to me, that I had to learn to break, that I didn't realize was being held back by competition. Until now. Competition was something that was also used against me when I was little. That was what, more than anything, helped me feel less than the others most of the time, especially if it was something I wasn't good at. There were very few things I was better at the others than the others with. Most of the time it was some Dr. Mario or something to do with Tetris. It was a friendly way for me to compete. I didn't feel like I should hold back. The thing is I wasn't always fair that way either. Sometimes I got so good at competing I didn't realize when it was hurting everyone else's feelings. So, back to my point. My point is, we grow out of these when we realize what's going on. If you're competing for your own growth, you will always lose. You will never finish what you start. You will have an excuse for not finishing what you start until you realize where it begins. And it is with competition with yourself, competition with others, competition, unhealthy competition. There is healthy competition, but if the competitor is set to win, never wins, somewhere in there, the competitor has to be happy with this. If the competition provides a challenge that isn't possible to be completed by the competitor, and a competitor finds itself competing for that subconsciously, outside of that, because it could not succeed in a certain area, psychologically, that snowballs out in the real world as a failure. Slowly, it, like information, decays into a larger decay. That decay becomes a bigger characteristic of the character itself. The older you get, the worse it gets, until it's dealt with. When you deal with it, all you need to do is underline the causality. That is understanding how habits are developed. Outside looking in, and from the inside looking out, developing new habits with that information because we know how it works. At some point, it just clicks. Oh, that's what that's for. And we fix ourselves. That's the only thing you're here to fix, if indeed it needed to be fixed at all. That's one thing that will keep you falling forever. Competition, unhealthy competition, especially unhealthy competition for yourself because you were devalued so much growing up by the environment, not necessarily your families, but then coincidentally snowballing into your characteristic, your families, and everything else around you, likewise becomes part of that equation. So you have to go in with this information to defrag that information with your information. Once you've done that, you sit well with it long enough, you develop a new pattern of thinking, which creates space for that algorithm that has now reset with new information to be free from the old information entirely. Once you've done that, it takes time. That defrag does not happen just because you know that's what's happening. It is work to break a habit, especially after 36 years of not knowing you have one. For others, it could be harder. or more difficult, depending on which way you go. It is easy to turn the key. Not so difficult to open the door. Once you see what you're walking into, that's the hardest part. You need to go in there and clean up your space, your temple, so that we can collect ourselves consciously with the collective conscious that is free from those limitations. There are many of them. I just named one. I'm sure if we brainstorm just for a moment, we might think of others. That is how you fix yourself. This is a self-help design. You're smart. You are smart enough to know this, to do better. So we don't become stagnant with information, to become subconscious vampires, pretending we give life when we do not. No one here is a vampire. You only ever give life. If you were taking it, it's because you're polarized to destroy. If you are polarized to destroy, that's because you think you're giving us life when you're not. If we told you you're bothering us or you hurt us, it's not good to laugh or to scorn the situation into a mourning situation, because it hurts everyone involved. It may not look like it, but the one it hurts most is the one laughing. So we don't laugh too much at our pride. We know what it means to be humbled. So we become humble. And we begin to humble ourselves before we need to be corrected. So that way, when we go into a situation, we're already at the meek and lowly position. To do what? Collect consciousness. I'm not on a mission to destroy someone else's happiness because I don't have my own. And or couldn't create it for everyone else. Because my fun was the most important thing, and it didn't matter what it cost everyone else. I was going to have it. If that's the way you think, congratulations. You're on that one-way trip to hell on a bus. I can't stop. I wish I could have said that different. I won't. That's how it needed to be said, because it's true. Hell is being separate from you when you're done. To be with you, you need to understand the keys to being with you if you want to be with you collectively. As the conscious goes, you have to clean up your space, and that's what everybody knows is wrong with us. So when you've done that, it's because you did that for yourself. You didn't do it for anyone else, so that when we are done, you may be with that self also, clean and clear from missing information that would not help you there. You see, death will not offer you wisdom when you get there. Being. You could say person, but that would be the view. Point. First person, second person, third person. We know the tenses. First person, inside. Second, me to you. Third person, inside, outside to inside. So if you're getting it first, by my definition, it's because it's you. My second person is going to be someone next to me that I'm talking to directly. My third person is going to be someone else before these words were even formed out of my mouth, to sit silent and wait for the information to come out, to see what we're going to say next. It's the narrator and the commentator in one. That is what's happening now. We're narrating, summarizing, and collecting the wisdom from my 36 years to share with you, from that first person point of view, the tenses I found here too, as a tool. The information is simply just for you to work on yourself. That's it. I'm not your God, I'm not your Lord, I'm not your any of those things. Until I am. Until we are, until it is. But that's what we as a collective conscious are working on, together. We will not do that if we are in any way dirty with our thoughts. So that means, for a lot of you, cleaning up that room after unlocking the door, easy. Opening the door, not so tough. Looking in there, rough. You gotta go clean that up. That's your mind. Mine's empty. A little light in there. That's what's left of me. What's right is the same. Full circle. It's a perfect circle in my brain. To clean every bit of it. Perfectly. I will. Takes time. So, just because we have this information out doesn't mean it's done. You are correct. It's not finished yet. But it is finished. So, that's all for today. I'm going, we're going, everyone's going. I have work to do. Have fun, play, live life to the fullest. Don't be fools with your life. Be wise with your words and learn from each other, with each other, for each other. Not against each other, for the world. Not against the world, as the world. To be fair, that's how you do it. Thanks.